Welcome to the Trailblazers. I'm Perry Rurick, your host and chief editor of Follow Your Buyer. The purpose of this interview series is to share interesting discussions I have with trailblazing thought leaders. They're innovative, they're thought-provoking, they challenge the status quo, they're not afraid of embracing difficult things, and they have served as vanguards for positive transformation, and they join me here. Our trailblazer guest today is Wendy Jacobson. She is a content marketing savant with over 25 years experience in the business world. She's helped businesses in healthcare, wellness, food, and technology plan and execute content marketing strategies with great success. And she shares her knowledge as a frequent contributor to Follow Your Buyer. She now leads Incredible Content, a company she started 13 years ago and aptly named because she views content as a vehicle for businesses to build and maintain credibility. Thank you for joining me today, Wendy, and welcome to the Trailblazers.
Thanks so much, Perry. I'm so happy to be here. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Awesome. We've been talking about this for, I think, a couple months, and it's finally here. So I've been very excited about this. I'm passionate about content and content marketing, as you are. So this is a great topic, and I'm very excited about it. So you and I both know that content marketing has been around a long time, over 100 years. And almost everybody I talk to will say, yeah, we do. Well, not everybody. Everybody reacts in different ways. You'll have people who say, my gosh, I don't know what we do without content marketing. It is the foundation of everything we do. And then you have some people who might say something like, yeah, we do that. And then that usually is an indication of where they are in their understanding. But when I consume content out there, I'm left with feeling like there's not a common and deep understanding of what content marketing is. And so to the point where it can be applied effectively, the way you do. So starting at the very basics, what is content marketing?
Content marketing. Yeah, I think a lot of businesses just think that if they create content, they're doing content marketing. But content marketing really is a concerted effort to use your content to inform and engage a target audience that you want to market to. So it's content, whether it's blog articles, social media posts, case studies, white papers, podcasts, content to meet your target market where they are in their buyer's journey, whether that's having no idea you exist, all the way up to knowing that they need a solution, so that when they're ready to make a purchase, they think of you.
Wow, well said. That's very concise, very comprehensive. I'm gonna go back and listen to that and get that ingrained in my brain as well. So you've developed a really outstanding framework to help people adopt and execute content marketing for results. So I know that's a big topic, but can you walk us through that framework?
Sure, absolutely. So I've been doing this, like you said, for a very long time, and I have found that a lot of businesses just want to throw content out there to see what sticks. And as a result, they're not very strategic with it and they're not successful with it. So we've developed a program to help businesses be successful with their content. In fact, Content Marketing Institute did a survey with B2B marketers, and only 28% of respondents said that their organizations were successful with content. So that's less than 1/3 of the businesses that they surveyed. Those that are successful with their content attribute a few things to that success. One is obviously knowing your target audience, who they are, but also having a plan to follow, tying their content to their business objectives, and then measuring the results of their content. So if something's not working, what can they do to fix it? We've developed a content planning and implementation program to help businesses be successful with their content. And it consists of a few different steps. The first is having a conversation with the business to help them and us understand what their business objectives are and their marketing objectives are over the next 3 to 6 months. We also want to know who their target market is, who they're trying to reach, and why. What are the challenges that they're having? And what is the root of those challenges? From there, we create a content plan consisting of the different types of content that we recommend they create based on those initiatives and their target market and the challenges that they're having. Then we implement that content marketing plan. Each piece of content has a goal attached to it. So we're not just throwing content out there for the sake of it, but what is this piece of content trying to accomplish? Is it building your email list? Is it scheduling calls with your salespeople? Is it driving social media engagement and increasing the audience? So every piece of content needs to have a goal attached to it. And then after that, each quarter, we go back and look at the results. We measure each piece of content and how they're performing, which tells us how to proceed moving forward. So that the thing about content is the return on investment is very long and somewhat nebulous. Like with marketing, advertising, you can see that return fairly quickly. Content is a slow game. Oftentimes, there's not really a performance tied to it. And so we really want to, as close as we can, tie a goal to each piece of content so we can demonstrate the performance. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the bottom line. And so if content is helping you build your business, helping you bring more customers in, which it should, then businesses will continue doing it and continue investing in it. If businesses are just throwing content out there for the sake of it, there's no goal tied to it. So there's no results tied to it, and there's no revenue tied to it. And so that it gets cut, and content is the backbone of one of the backbones of your marketing plan.
I don't, so you brought up a lot of really great things there, and I don't want to miss out on those. So I want to go back to something you said of all these components. The first one, which is understand what your business wants to get out of a content marketing strategy. I don't want to blow past that too quickly. That's really important. I think it's more difficult than it sounds. What have you learned in working with folks and trying to define that in a way that all the other pieces fall into place?
Yeah. So again, in my time doing this, a lot of businesses that I've started working with, they don't understand what content needs to do for them. Their competition is doing blog posts, so I need to do blog posts. Their competition's out on social media, so I need to be on social media. And while that might be true, there needs to be some kind of reason for it, right? So if you have a marketing or let's say you have a marketing objective, how can your content tie into that marketing objective? If you're launching a new product or service, let's tie some content into that new product or service so that the business is moving forward all together in step. And so in the past, a lot of businesses are very siloed with their marketing, with their product development, and with their content. Content is just kind of oftentimes out on an island by itself, and it needs to be integrated with everything else that's going on in the business. So helping businesses understand that it's not just a blog post you're putting out there or a case study you're putting out there. It's content with a purpose, with a specific reason to exist, to be in lockstep with all the other components of your business.
Something else you brought up that I want to go back to, and you said understand your target audience and the challenges they have. Why is that important to a content marketing plan?
Well, your target market doesn't really care about you. They care about what you can do for them. And so if you don't understand their challenges, you're showing them that you don't get them, and they're going to move on to find someone else who does. Empathy is a huge component of your content. People want to feel heard. They want to feel taken care of. and they want to feel like you can help them. And so if you're putting content out that is all about you, for instance, and not about them, your audience they won't be around for long. They're going to go find someone else who understands them. So knowing what their challenges are is key. It's a key component in all of your content.
So important. Thank you for emphasizing that. Final one, measuring results. So, when I think through this, they're all integrated. They all have to be synchronized. But measuring results, there are so many people who do all of this, everything you've spoken about. They put it in place. It's all working, and then when they measure results, they go, I didn't get any leads from this thought leadership piece of content that we put out. How do you measure results in a way? What are some of the tips you would offer people to think about in measuring results in a realistic way?
So the first thing with measuring results is to temper your expectations. Content is a long game, and so you need to really be in it for the long haul. If you think you're going to publish a blog post or two and all of a sudden get an influx of leads, you're going to be sorely disappointed. So really, again, it all goes back to what is the goal of your content? Is it to, if it is to generate leads, then it needs to, how are you going to measure that? Is it a gated piece of content with that you need to put your email in order to get? And then is there specific steps for the audience to take to, make a call to your salespeople? Then that needs to be clearly defined within your content. People are sheep and people need to be told what to do. So if you don't have clear calls to action and really specific instructions for your audience to take to get to the next step, then it's going to be very difficult to measure those results. So again, having clear goals, clear calls to action, and tempered expectations from your content, I think will, in my opinion, in my experience, will help you see those those results a little bit clearer, even if the results aren't specifically what you're looking for at that time. Again, it takes a while to get to the level of seeing those results.
As you walk through that, something came to mind. Okay. And your call to action. Call to actions don't always have to be buy. Contact us if you want a solution. It could be, if you're educating somebody, the call to action could be, if you want to learn more, access this piece of content.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. So not every piece of content is going to lead to a lead, and not every piece of content is going to lead to a sale. And if you think that that's the way it is, again, you got to temper those expectations. No one wants to be sold. People just want to be guided. And so you're absolutely right. Every call to action doesn't have to be sign up or call a person or click to buy. It can be go here for some more information. Go here to learn about a customer who was in your position and how we help them. Go to our social media and like our LinkedIn page. It can be very subtle calls to action that you can track the performance just by page clicks.
Brilliant. Brilliant stuff. I'm speaking with content marketing expert Wendy Jacobson. We're going to be right back after this break. I'm back with my guest, Wendy Jacobson. She is an expert on content marketing, and that's what we're talking about. B2B content marketing. Before we went live and started the actual interview, I've known Wendy for two or 3 years, and I know that she is an avid jump roper or rope jumper? What's the correct way to describe somebody who likes to jump rope?
Oh God, that's a good question. Crazy? I don't know. Jump roper, rope jumper. Yeah, either one I think works.
Okay. You shared with me something that you learned recently by being an avid jump roper.
Yeah, so I found jumping rope as a workout in 2017 and immediately fell in love with it. I jump rope using weighted ropes 5 mornings a week. It's just a great cardio workout. I also do body weight exercises, so it's not strictly jumping rope. And I've never been injured by it, but in March-ish, my left leg started to hurt. But it didn't hurt when I jumped rope. It hurt when I was done. So I thought maybe I wasn't stretching it. I had a similar injury about 18 months ago on my right leg, and it was like my back was all crazy. So I started to do the physical therapy exercises from them. But my leg wasn't getting better. In fact, it was almost getting worse. And it was so bad, it kept me up at night. It hurt to stand up. The days that I did not jump rope, because I only jump rope 5 days a week, the days that I didn't jump rope, my leg didn't hurt. But I refused to admit to myself that jumping rope was the cause of this injury because I love it so much. Um, but the pain was outweighing my desire to jump rope. So finally, about 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I will stop jumping rope and see what happens. I didn't stop working out. I did other exercises. I didn't do a lot of cardio, but a lot of weight training exercises because I like to work out. And my leg slowly but surely started to get better. So it made me realize that jumping rope probably was the culprit. And yesterday was the first day in a long time that I didn't have any pain in my left leg. So this morning actually was the first time in about 2 weeks that I jumped rope. And I went very, very trepidatiously into it. And I didn't do a super long workout, but I just wanted to see how my leg felt. And I'm going to start slowly getting back into jumping rope. Tying this to content, you can be an idiot. I was being an idiot and beating my head against the wall and expecting a different result by jumping rope every day and thinking my leg, it wasn't the culprit to cause the pain in my leg. And I was overusing my hamstring too much. If you're doing content, putting out content and seeing no results, use this as a lesson. Remember me jumping rope and use it as a lesson to think maybe you should stop doing that piece of content and try a different type of content. So if you're putting out, posts on Facebook and seeing no engagement, well, maybe Facebook isn't the right place for you to be. Maybe you want to shift to LinkedIn based on where your target audience is. If you're putting out blog posts every day and getting no engagement and not getting what you are expecting, maybe scale back on the number of blog posts you put out and write a case study or maybe invest some time in a white paper. You can shift and pivot what types of content that you're creating based on the results. And if it's painful like my leg, then figure out another way to do it.
Awesome. What a lesson. That's great. And I'm glad you're not in pain. I'm glad you're back to
Yeah,
rope
thank
jumping
you.
rope.
Yeah.
I'm going to struggle with that for a while until I get that right. Well, nice. So that tees up the next thing I wanted to ask you about. You are really good at case studies and helping people write really effective case studies. When I think of complex business to business relationships and the time it takes for really big, projects and the time it takes, case studies are really valuable in getting your target audience engaged. So can you just talk a little bit about, the importance of case studies and what makes an effective one?
Absolutely. I'm going to first start with my definition of case studies because I think a lot of businesses are I don't want to say get it wrong, but think what they're doing is a case study when, in my opinion, it's not. So a case study is a story that's essentially told from your customer's perspective about what their challenge was, why they were seeking a solution, why they worked with you, and the results that you were able to help them achieve. Oftentimes, companies will publish a case study, but it's really that company talking about what they did for their customer. And there's no input from their customer. So it's not objective. The nice thing about how I view case studies, what I think is a case study, is a couple things. It's a story. So you frame it as a story with a beginning, middle, and end. And that's important because humans have been communicating via stories through thousands of years. Stories elicit, chemicals in your brain to be released at different parts of the story, and stories help the whoever's reading it, listening to it, watching it, empathize with the characters in the story. The characters in the story, again, aren't you, the business. The characters in the story are your businesses, is the business's customers. So that helps the audience better relate to the story, because it's not you, the business, telling the story, it's your customer telling the story. They're more objective and relatable, and your target audience can see themselves in the story's shoes, right? In the character's shoes. So the character of the story, your customer, has this challenge. The reader of the story, your target audience or prospect, has the same challenge. They can relate to that. The customer in the story seeks a solution and gets a solution and has experienced amazing results from that solution. The reader of the story wants that too, right? They want what the character in the story has. And so they're just able to connect. Case studies are better able to, in my opinion, better able to connect to your prospects than a lot of other content out there.
You've just turned the case study on end. I agree with you. Most of the case studies I encounter, they're all about the solution provider,
Yeah.
and they're not compelling, I guess, for lack of another word. So it's important. You said it's based on the customer's perspective and gaining that. I almost see this as an off limits area for a lot of B2B marketers, because they can't get the customer's participation in this. Say, oh, the customer will never participate. They don't even think about these. What tips do you have to get the customer on board and to participate in these?
So I think the first thing to do is to talk with your customers early on about case studies. And you can even put a clause in your proposal or contract about their willingness to be involved in a case study if asked. I think another thing to do is view it as a partnership between you and the customer. You're going to be holding their hand every step of the way throughout the case study creation, and nothing will be published without their approval and consent. And then it's also an opportunity for that customer to show what they're doing to fix the challenges or issues that they're having.
So there can be a dual purpose to the case study, is what I'm hearing. It's one, the solution provider is using it, but the customer can also present themselves to their own target audience in a positive light.
For sure, 100%. I mean, people like working with businesses that want to improve, and so it can be a good marketing tool for both the solution provider and the customer.
One of the things you said was the customer is the main subject. Sometimes I refer to them as the hero.
Yeah.
If you can, so now we're moving. Content marketing is science and art. Now we're kind of maybe moving to the art part of this.
Yeah.
But it's important to make sure your customer is, and this is the hero in your story, right?
For sure, 100%, as they should be. You, the solution provider, you're the guide, right? You help them get from point A to point B, but it's really their journey that you want to showcase, and let them tell their story.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to do actually something that you pointed out earlier. I'm going to insert a call to action. So Wendy has contributed a ton of content on Follow Your Buyer. Followyourbuyer.com. You can go there and you can see her articles, and she's got a series on case studies that is just extraordinary. So I would encourage you all to learn more about case studies. You can, and I'm going to tell you how to contact Wendy also. All right. Finally, I want to just no guardrails, no limitations. What are just some general top of the mind tips that you would like to share with content marketers?
That's a good question. So I have three. The first one is, as you write in your customer's voice. Don't use your own language and jargon if it doesn't make sense to your target audience. It needs to be digestible and consumable, and you don't want to make them feel dumb by using big words if they don't use big words. Number two, talk in the second person, you. So make your content seem as if you're having a conversation with your audience. So rather than I and we do this, it's you have a challenge of that, right? So they feel like they're being talked with or spoken with rather than talked to. And then the third one is use lots of white space in your content. If your audience sees just long, arduous paragraphs, their brain is going to turn off because that's going to be a lot of work to read. So really short, 2-sentence, 3-sentence paragraphs, lots of white space between them, bullet points, format your content in a way that makes it easy to read so that they will consume it.
Awesome. Great tips. I'm guilty of that last one. Every time I catch myself, I think of you. I think of this is not what Wendy would do. And you do some really creative things with words and how they appear on a page and shapes, which I don't know how you do that. I've been speaking with Wendy Jacobson. She is an expert on content marketing. That's what we've been talking about. Wendy, how can people find you?
Thanks for asking, Perry. They can go to incrediblecontent.net. They can email me at wendy@incrediblecontent.net, and they can find me on LinkedIn at Wendy Jacobson.
And you are prolific at LinkedIn. You use it regularly. I'm always looking at your posts every day. I see something. I always walk away with something valuable and entertaining at the same time. It's really it really gets my creative synapses, I guess, going. So really great stuff. Wendy, thank you very much. Wendy Jacobson she leads Incredible Content, which she started 13 years ago. There's nobody better when it comes to content marketing. And I just thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much, Perry. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate the opportunity.